How did this aroma spray bottle kill two people and cause severe infection in two others? Let's talk about it. My name's Alex Sutterman, and I'm an infectious disease epidemiologist, and I study outbreaks. Disease is melioidosis. It's caused by a bacteria in the Burkholderia species, and it's very rare here to find in the United States. So when someone is infected with it in the United States, clinicians will often ask, did you have international travel? But in this case, all four patients had no international travel. And after a 4-year-old died with no pre-existing conditions, the CDC got involved, did DNA fingerprinting on the infections, and found that the bacteria was exactly the same, meaning all four of these patients got it from the exact same source. But the problem here is that they were spread out across 4 different states: Kansas, Texas, Minnesota, and Georgia. So the CDC Epidemic Intelligence Service did deep dives into all these people's homes. They took samples from the water in their homes, the soil in their homes, because that's usually where the bacteria is found, but none of those samples ever tested positive. It wasn't until a CDC Epidemic Intelligence Service officer in Georgia revisiting that patient's home found this aroma spray bottle that tested positive for the exact same bacteria that caused all of these infections, meaning that this spray bottle was being sprayed and aerosolizing the bacteria, causing that to be inhaled and causing the infection. The bottles were sold at Walmart, but imported from India, where you can normally find this bacteria and you can normally find those infections. And there was a nationwide recall, recalling thousands of these bottles sold all across the United States. The CDC concluded that the other patients also had these in their homes as well that caused the infection. So what did we learn from this outbreak? You could have importation of a rare bacteria that can be aerosolized, causing rare infections within the United States. And also it was the quick action of the CDC EIS that prevented more deaths and more infections within this outbreak. And that last point is really important because I want to highlight that this was spread out across 4 different states. And without the CDC involvement, it is likely that the individual states would not have detected this outbreak for 2 reasons: because they don't communicate between each other, and the CDC aggregates that type of communication and coordinates this type of outbreak response. Also, the CDC has experts in rare bacteria just like this that the individual states likely do not have, and they might not have been able to recover it from that aroma spray bottle, even if they did detect it. So outbreaks like this is evidence of why we have to invest in the CDC, because it has that federal aggregation of this data that provides good outbreak response and prevents these types of outbreaks from spreading.